It's the middle of the night. Your dog could be sleeping anywhere in the room, curled against your legs, on the soft blanket at the end of the bed, on the rug, in their own bed 3 feet away. But instead, they choose one very specific position. Body relaxed, eyes half closed, maybe their back pressed lightly against the side of your bed, and their face pointed straight at the door. Most people never think twice about this. They assume it's random. Maybe the dog likes the breeze from the hallway. Maybe they just happen to fall asleep that way. Maybe it means absolutely nothing. But what if I told you that one small detail, the direction your dog sleeps, may be one of the clearest windows into how they see your home, your bond, and their role inside your world? Because dogs do not just sleep, they position themselves. And when your dog repeatedly sleeps facing the door, behavioral logic suggests something much deeper may be happening than simple comfort. To understand it, you have to start with one fact most owners underestimate. Sleep is vulnerability. For any animal, sleep is the moment when awareness drops, reaction time slows, and survival becomes harder. In the wild, the safest sleeper is not always the one in the softest spot. It is the one whose body is placed where risk can be detected first. That instinct does not disappear just because your dog lives in a house, has a food bowl in the kitchen, and a favorite toy under the couch. Comfort changes. Biology doesn't vanish. So when your dog settles down near you but keeps their body oriented toward the entrance, the hallway, or the doorway to the room, that may not be random at all. It may be strategy. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because your dog is doing two things at the same time. They are resting in the place they feel safest, while keeping their attention aligned with the place the unknown would come from. That is the detail. Not the bed, not the blanket, not the temperature, the threshold. The door is not just a door to your dog, it is a boundary, a line between the protected space and the unpredictable one. Inside this room, your scent, your breathing, your routine, your presence. Beyond that opening, movement, sounds, footsteps, strangers, change. And dogs are exquisitely sensitive to thresholds. They notice entrances, exits, pathways, corners, hallways, the routes people take through a home, the sound pattern of who comes and goes, the difference between a familiar step and an unfamiliar one. To a dog, a doorway is one of the most important information points in any environment. So if your dog chooses to sleep facing it, they may be telling you something powerful. I can relax here, but I still want to know what's coming. Now here is where most people get it wrong. They hear that and assume it means the dog is anxious, guarded, on edge, unable to settle. Sometimes that is true, but not always. In many bonded, secure dogs, sleeping near you while facing the door may actually represent the opposite of panic. It may represent trust with purpose. Your dog is relaxed enough to sleep, but oriented enough to monitor. That combination matters. Because if a dog truly felt unsafe with you, they would usually create distance, not closeness. They would hide in a more concealed place, move to another room, or choose isolation over proximity. But when a dog chooses your room, your bed, your side of the room, and still faces the doorway, the message may be much more specific. You are the safe zone, the door is the watch zone, and your dog has quietly split the world into those two categories. That is why this behavior feels so strangely emotional once you understand it. Because it does not just suggest alertness, it suggests responsibility. Think about the position itself. Your dog is not facing the wall, not facing the window, not facing the softest part of the room. They are facing the one point where something could enter, the one point where change would first appear. And they are doing it while staying close enough to remain physically connected to you. That is not meaningless. That is a role. Now, does your dog consciously think, I must stand guard tonight? Probably not in the human, verbal way we imagine. But behavior does not need language to have meaning.
Dogs communicate priorities through placement, where they sleep, how they orient, what they monitor, what they ignore. And over thousands of years of living alongside humans, dogs became masters of shared space. Not just shared activity, shared vigilance, shared rest, shared routine. That matters more than most owners realize, because long before dogs were pets, animals survived by reading the environment while resting inside social groups. Some individuals remained closer to the center. Others positioned themselves closer to the edge, the entrance, the opening, the direction of possible disturbance. Even now, in modern homes, many dogs still show versions of that ancient logic. They map the house, they learn the sound of the front door, they memorize where family members appear from. They understand which door means someone is leaving and which one means someone is coming back. So when your dog faces the door in sleep, they may be doing something ancient inside something modern, using an old nervous system in a new environment. And that is where this gets really interesting, because this behavior is not just about protection, it is also about attachment. A deeply bonded dog often wants two things at the same time: closeness, because you regulate their sense of safety; awareness, because they are still a dog, an animal built to notice movement, sound, entry, and change. Sleeping beside you satisfies the first need. Facing the door may satisfy the second.
And that means the position itself becomes a perfect compromise between love and instinct, between bonding and monitoring, between rest and readiness. In other words, your dog may not be choosing between you and the environment. They may be choosing both. They stay near you because that is where they feel secure. They face the door because that is where the world can shift. And when those two choices happen together, what you are looking at may be one of the clearest physical expressions of trust a dog can show without ever making a sound. But there's another layer almost nobody talks about. Sometimes dogs don't face the door because they're guarding against something. Sometimes they face it because they're expecting something. That is a completely different emotional meaning. Dogs are pattern detection machines. They learn that doors predict events. A door means your partner coming home, a child waking up, a delivery arriving, a late-night noise in the hallway, morning routine, walk time, breakfast, the return of the person they are bonded to most. So for some dogs, facing the door is not only vigilance, it is anticipation. They want to be the first to know, the first to hear it, the first to see it, the first to react, which is why the emotional tone of this behavior depends on one crucial detail. What does the rest of your dog's body look like? If your dog is sleeping deeply, muscles loose, breathing slow, body soft, but still oriented toward the door, that often suggests calm awareness, a relaxed kind of monitoring, the canine version of "I'm off duty, but not completely." But if your dog is stiff, constantly lifting their head, ears twitching at every sound, unable to settle, changing position over and over, then facing the door may be telling a different story. Not purpose, stress; not secure watchfulness, hypervigilance. That distinction matters, because the position alone is not the full message. The emotional state around the position is what reveals the truth, and smart owners pay attention to both. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes people make is romanticizing every behavior. Not every dog facing the door is bravely protecting the family. Sometimes the dog is simply tracking noise. Sometimes they are light sleepers. Sometimes the room setup makes that direction most comfortable. Sometimes there's a draft, a sound source, or a habit formed over time. But when the behavior is consistent, relaxed, and happens specifically near you, that's when it starts to mean more. That's when it starts looking less like coincidence and more like placement with purpose. There is one more reason this behavior hits people so hard when they understand it. It changes how they interpret their dog's silence. Because from the outside, nothing dramatic is happening.
No barking, no growling, no obvious display. Just a sleeping dog in a dark room. But that quiet position may contain an entire relationship. Trust in you, awareness of the environment, a sense of role, a bond strong enough to rest nearby, an instinct old enough to still care where the entrance is. That is what makes dogs so extraordinary. They take huge emotional truths and express them in tiny physical choices. A paw against your leg, a sigh before sleep, a body pressed against the bed, a face turned toward the door. And one last thing. If your dog has always slept loosely and comfortably in random directions and then suddenly starts orienting toward the door every night, pay attention. Because sudden changes in sleep position can mean something in the environment has changed before you noticed it. A new sound, a new person in the building, activity outside the room, anxiety after a routine disruption, heightened sensitivity as they get older, even subtle discomfort that makes them sleep lighter than they used to. Dogs often show changes in behavior before owners understand the reason. So don't just notice the position, notice the pattern. Has your dog become more restless, more alert at night, more reactive to hallway sounds, more attached to where people enter and leave? Because behavior is information, and your dog is always communicating, especially when you think they're doing nothing at all. So the next time you wake up in the middle of the night and see your dog asleep beside you, body calm, face pointed at the door, remember what you might actually be looking at. Not a random sleeping position, not just habit, not just comfort, but a quiet blend of attachment, instinct, and spatial awareness that has been shaped over thousands of years. Your dog is resting where they feel safest, while keeping one part of themselves oriented toward the place the unknown could appear. And maybe that is their way of saying something they can't put into words. You sleep, I'll listen. If this changed how you see your dog, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments, where does your dog sleep and which direction do they face? And if you want to understand why your dog sleeps with their back pressed against you, the psychology behind that is even deeper than most owners realize.